This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So last session, we were discussing about this Kubernetes, right? So my Kubernetes cluster is ready. And we just touched the so that the basic topics of, so how to use what and what. And actually, we want to jump onto our, we want to jump onto our application. We want to jump onto what we call we want to jump onto our project, okay, and we want to build Kubernetes files for the same. Okay, so let's do that. And so before doing that, actually, I wanted to set up my databases in the backend first. Okay, so using Helm charts or something, I wanted to um, um, yeah, so I'm saying, so we wanted to set up our application, and before setting up the applications, we wanted to set up our databases end to end, and from there we want to move on. Okay, so how do I set up the databases and move on? Let's see. So one by one, first thing I would like to start with is MySQL. Okay, so I'm not going to make it too complex, taking stateful set and things like that. I'll just go with a quite simple one, probably um, a very simple one, by the way. So taking a stateful set is also okay. You're not doing much work. You just say what you want and you get it. For that, what I'm going to do is MySQL. Also, there is a version involved here. So MySQL 5 dot. I think we are using 5.6 if I'm not wrong. Let's quickly take it from the documentation. Let's go to the documentation. Let's go to the repos. No, not repos. Here, wiki, and over here, what actually you're doing. MySQL, which version? 5.7, not 6. 5.7 version we are using. Okay, so here I'm going to say MySQL 5.7 stateful set Kubernetes. Okay, Kubernetes Helm chart. Okay, so this is the one which I'm looking for, and so that actually you can get it somewhere, and you are getting it from here and as well as from the Bitnami. Both is okay. Anything is okay. Okay, so this is an archive node. This is the deprecated one. Let's go to the Bitnami. And Bitnami, so you just do this. First, if you want to deal with the Bitnami, you have to do this. Okay, so Bitnami. And Helm install MySQL. The installation name and then the package name, so which is /MySQL. So you're going to get the MySQL which is getting created. So let me open another session. So K9s, so that it will show me the MySQL 0. It is actually still container getting created. Now, the next one, which I would like to go with, is MongoDB. So MongoDB. So, but the problem with the MongoDB is MongoDB should not have any kind of authentication. So our guy actually is, if you understand, so you're saying catalog contact to the MongoDB, but you're not saying the username and password. But whereas MySQL, that guy is actually telling the username and password, connecting with username and password. But for MongoDB, he's not using any kind of username and password. Okay, so MongoDB, no username and password. So we need something without username and password. Okay, so MongoDB, no authentication, Helm chart. So I'm more looking for that way. So unable to start basically. No, you can just directly see this. You can just say MongoDB Helm chart. Okay, so you can just ask what Bitnami you have here. Yeah, so here you have Bitnami MongoDB. But actually, I want to read about the more documentation here. So let's go to the MongoDB documentation here. And so here it usually will be having some options. Okay, so this is the common options, the MongoDB parameters. Auth enabled is actually by default it is true, and I want to say that auth enabled is false. That's it. So authentication, I'm saying I don't want any kind of authentication. Okay, so auth. Okay, I think that's fine. Okay, now while you're installing this Helm chart, so what you need to do is you just need to tell this particular option also. So Helm install this one, and you're going to say it's actually going to be MongoDB, and now you go for MongoDB. But here I want to say that so here this one, and hyphen set, sorry, hyphen set this one is equal to false. Now what happened, you're actually installing MongoDB, but you're going to connect to the MongoDB without any kind of username and password, and that is what my application is needed. Okay, cool. So you're getting MongoDB also. And the next one is the RabbitMQ. Okay, so RabbitMQ Helm chart. This is also available in Bitnami, so you can just go and give Bitnami/RabbitMQ. Helm install RabbitMQ, and you give this. So RabbitMQ is also getting created. What is the other one? Basically, you have Redis / Bitnami / Redis. Okay, but the problem is, again, I just want to check it out whether it has any authentication. Redis Helm chart. Okay, so it's also again Bitnami Helm chart, and you can go here. Redis again. Here I just want to check it out. Is there any authentication? Is there by default? I think no. So TLS auth clients requires clients to authenticate or not. By default, it is true, and I want to say it's false. Hyphen set this one is equal to false. So Redis also, we are actually connecting without any authentication. By default, Redis also will have some authentication mechanism. Okay, so now at least we are getting some components here, right? So now I want to just check it out whether these are really working or not by loading some schema to at least to Mongo and MySQL, and to RabbitMQ also I need to just execute some commands, right? So I will just go to RabbitMQ and I execute some shell. So this shell is actually telling what shell. Okay, RabbitMQ. RabbitMQ CTL create a user and adding the RoboShop, yeah, and set an administrator permissions, done, and give the some permissions. Okay, done. RabbitMQ is done. So then the next one is Mongo. Connect to the Mongo and do that. So for connecting and all, I'll just use a simple kubectl kubectl run like, let's say, so some debug run debug pod and hyphen image is equal to CentOS :7, and then the command is sleep some 10,000. So the pod debug is creating now. So I just want to kubectl run debug with the image CentOS 7. The sleep is 10,000, and you go inside a shell to that, and you just kind of install some clients. So yum install mysql-y. So it will just install MySQL client so that you can connect to that client and do that, deal with that. In the meantime, so how do you connect to this one? So this is service attached to MySQL. So go to :svc in K9s. Actually, you will take to MySQL. Okay, so MySQL or MySQL headless, anything is okay. So MySQL -host, so this one, and you do require a password, okay, for MySQL. So how do you get a password? So kubectl gets base secrets. So secrets are actually used to store the secrets, right? We already discussed about this. And MySQL, there is a secret which is created. So MySQL gets secret, this one, and -o yiml. So there's a password in there, and we just need to decode that. MySQL root password. So here is a root password. Just take that. So echo this one, pipe base 64 decode. What I want to give echo. So this is the password for your MySQL. So MySQL and the kubectl get space svc, and the host name is MySQL-host MySQL. Host name is MySQL and -u root and -b, this one. Perfect. I logged into the database. Now I can just go and so download the schema and apply the schema. Okay, go to the MySQL. So how do you download the schema? So this is the URL, and so call -yes no. So ls and so shipping.sql is loaded, and MySQL hyphen this one, and just load that shipping.sql file. This is the problem actually. So the MySQL which you created is some other version. Basically, if you look into the MySQL, the version, it's actually 8.0.23. I am looking for 5.7. Okay, so yeah, MySQL some other version, MySQL version, and so MySQL 5.7. So all you need to do is you just need to pass some certain parameter for your version. Okay, so version image.tag. So you have what all versions you have. So the version which you have is so the application version has to be 5.7.26. But how do I give application version? Let me try this image.tag. Now I want to delete the Helm chart. So Helm space or now there is already one Helm chart. So Helm, I don't know whether it works. Helm ls just shows what all the Helm charts which you have. helm space delete MySQL. So helm space install MySQL bitnami / MySQL -- set image is image dot tag is equal to 5.7.26. It is actually crash loop back off is happening. So if you look into the logs, why it is actually happening, some reason. So I'm not sure whether I gave the right option or not. Okay, so that I'm not sure. No, I would have done something actually. Let me check it from my previous batch. What would I have done? 5 points, releases. No, I don't know what I have done. Okay, so MySQL 7 Helm chart. Let's go with this default one, which is, even though it is a deprecated one, let's try to use this. This guy, I think, by default, he's taking the 5.7 only. So let's try this. So delete MySQL. Let this go away. And Helm install MySQL. So he's telling stable / MySQL. Okay, so that stable MySQL is not there, so you need to add the repo. So adding the repo can be done going into the stable. So this, I'll provide all these steps again. This repo add you need to do. Okay, so now you want MySQL root password, so you can just give this. It gives the root password. Okay, so now it's still waiting. Let it complete. Okay, I think it is up now. So let's go to the debug this one and say show databases, right? So now it is 5.7 anyhow. So now I will say my shipping.sql file. Okay, so the shipping.sql is fine. Now the same way, now I'll go and install Mongo shell as well, Mongo CLI, and so go for Mongo. Mongo, how do I install the CLI? I will just go for Mongo, quickly run this. Okay, yum install. And yeah, so you just install my Mongo, right? So Mongo, you can download the schema. So Mongo, load that catalog.js file. But first of all, where is the host? Mongo hyphen host. So what is a MongoDB? Sorry, Mongo kubectl get space svc. MongoDB. So hyphen host is MongoDB, and load this. Perfect. And also users.js file. Okay, all right, and the next thing which we have here is I think we have set the databases. Okay, so everything is fine. Redis, you don't need to do anything. RabbitMQ user is added. MySQL schema loaded. MongoDB schema is also loaded. Perfect. Okay, so now we can start doing our application part. Okay, so let's start with mm, let's start with front end. Okay, and we will make the front end deployed. Okay, let's go to the code. I'll keep it here only. I'll keep a separate directory, and I will say new directory. So which is K8, which is a shortcut for Kubernetes, and inside that, so deploy dot YML file. Okay, so our app.yml file, so very common one. I'll just keep that. And over here, I need to have some deployment. Okay, so deployment in Kubernetes. Okay, here it is. All right, and over here, so I'm just going to call it as front end. So friend end. Okay, and the labels you can call it as again like front end replica. I would like to keep only one, and here I want to keep front end here, and the name is also front end. And so the image is basically it's actually r-kaluru slash d 50 53 hyphen front end colon some version basically. Okay, so that version I will so kind of keep some common word, and I'll just run this. Okay, so let's do this, and yeah, let's try to run this, and how I mean we'll see how it can be run. Okay, so this version need to be replaced with the actual version which we are building through CI. Okay, how do we do that? We'll see that. Okay, one second. Okay, sorry. Yeah. Yeah, now we will deal with this. So first of all, let's go to the CI. In the Docker file, what I actually are doing, you're actually using from Nginx or RF and static. But there is a problem in running this here actually. Okay, let me show you the problem. So kubectl run kubectl run nginx hyphen image is equal to nginx. If I try to run the nginx image, nginx is getting created. I'm expecting it to a failure. Let's see. Okay, if I go into the shell, oh, it's working fine. All right, then no problem. Okay, so here, yeah, so which is fine then. Then I'll go with my Docker file, my Docker image. Okay, so we're actually removing the static content and copying all the content of static inside. So you saw this one HTML, and also it needs some configuration file also, isn't it? So this localhost.conf file need to be so having or need to be pointing it to the appropriate endpoints. Okay, so this is also need to be done. But if I put localhost, if I keep localhost, it will not be able to. Okay, so for time being, okay, let's see the UI web page. For just for time being, let's see the only UI web page. Okay, now I will just go and create a now I'll just go and create a service. So services in Kubernetes. So I want to expose it to the outside world. And if you remember the diagram, okay, so where did I made the diagram? Was it chart? Over here. Yeah, in the architecture v2. So here I just mentioned it's a load balancer SVC. okay, and the pointing to the front end, right? So that's where the services I want to keep it, and I want to put a load balancer to that, okay? And here I'll take it here, and so who is going to take it? So v1 service, which is actually going to be front end, and actually attaches to all the pods which is having this label front end, okay? Also I want to open it on 80 to 80 port, okay? And also here I have to say that this is a type is basically is a load balancer. All right, this is the work I have to do, okay? I'm pushing the code. Okay, now I wanted to um, do this with CI, and I want to do the continuous deployment as well. Okay, how do I do that? Let's go to dev.azure.com. Go to the pipelines. So front end is already running, and you have edit here, and is actually already pushing it to this guy. Okay, cool. But it's actually putting it to latest all the time. Okay, but it is putting to latest all the time, so which is not a definitely good practice. Okay, so basically keeping it to latest is not a great idea, so you need to have some versions there. Okay, so and how do I deal with that version? Okay, so I'm going to deal that particular version with dollar build dot build id Azure DevOps. Okay, if you just go to the predefined variables, and you will be having build dot build id. Okay, so this is the variable. This is the variable I would like to take it by build id or build number. What is that? Mm, build the ID of the record. This one, I think build number is fine. Build dot build number. Okay, so you need to make this particular change. So it might be already running. So let's take a look now. No, no. Build dot build ID is actually taking this some random number. No, I don't want this. I think build dot build ID only. It's actually build dot build ID. Or the right way is you create a tag, and based on the tag you do that, isn't it? So that's another way we just talked about the actual best practice, right? So while you do the release, you create a tag and take the tag value. Okay, take the tag number. Tag of git, by the way. Yeah, which tag means git tag. So now let me see. Now something you're getting 856. This seems okay. At least not some bad number. This 856 is okay. Now I want to attach this particular one to the release. Okay. So all pipelines. So inside this, I'm going to create a new folder, and I'll say these are Kubernetes related pipelines. Okay. And so the next one is a new release pipeline. Not in all pipelines. Leave pipeline. Yeah. So empty job. And so first you need to add an artifact. So add an artifact is actually coming from the build of so RS frontend. So it pulls all the information basically, and you will say so app is this one, and just click on add. Okay, now you take this, run an agent, and the agent can be Azure pipelines, but you just choose Ubuntu, some lower version is fine. Okay, and so just click on save. What all the things you need to do here is you just need to first do with so Helm installer. I need to install Helm. Okay, no, why Helm? I require kubectl. I need kubectl. Okay, I go with add. No, not kubectl, tool installer. Basically, you just remove this. Okay, that installs a kubectl. That is the first thing. Okay, and also what all the other things you do require from here is you are installing kubectl, and after that, so what you need to do is you need to go and get so bash. So what you need to do is you need to get the AWS config. Okay, so download AWS config. Okay, so then what do we do here? So you require AWS credentials, so variables group, link variable group. I would like to go and add the AWS credentials. And so the AWS credentials I'm going to use here, an environment variables. And this is quite common for everyone, right? Not only for this guy, this is quite common for everyone. So do I need to really write a complete release for this? No. So you can save this for now. Let's go to the task groups. So task groups is easier for us, right? So just go for here. You cannot create a new task group. So let's create one task, and then only you can convert into task group. Let's complete it. So edit it. So this one, and you probably right click on this. Not right click. Here, stage one. No. How do I create a task group from this? I forget. That is, does anyone remember how do we create a task group? Tasks. Okay, on the stage one, agent job, agentless job, this one. Okay, you have to select the task, and so you have to select this and then right click, and then you create a task group. Okay, makes sense. So I would say create a task group, and I will say that so K8's deployment. So just click on create it. Go with the task groups, just click on leave here. It's deploy. You can start modifying here. Okay, install the kubectl version, download the AWS config. So the AWS config is actually coming from environment variables of AWS, because you require AWS credentials for this, right? So I will just use this one, replacing it with, take this value, this value, okay, coming from the same variable from the variables. Okay, cool. And after that, so what you need to do is actually you should do AWS EKS. So there is something. So AWS EKS, update kube config. So something like this. AWS EKS update kube config. So what is your cluster name? So the cluster name is so dollar probably cluster underscore name. So this is a variable which I pass it. Okay, which is fine. And so cluster name and the region, so which we are using is US-East-1. Okay, so this will just pull the AWS configuration after you have AWS credential setup and kubectl this one. So then yeah, so it is. Now the next thing which I want to do is I just want to put some bash and say that so deploy. So here kubectl get space pods. Okay, so this much I want to do. Let's go to the releases, and I will say here. So front end, just click on save. Yeah, now what you wanted to do, K8 something we created a task group, right? That comes here now. So just click on add. So you get it. Now you require to pass certain variable. So this variable I would like to save here, and I'll just say go to the library and go to the AWS dev. So here only I will just add, so which is cluster underscore name. So today I created a cluster name which is called as test. So yeah, pipelines releases again here. So go here. And also in the task group, I just want to give something called as so env, this one, and then env commands. Okay, so save it, go to the releases. Let's do a deployment now. Okay, front end, go to release. Okay, so now you see this, so AWS kube config is actually downloading the kube config, which is fine. Now then the deployment side, I want to, so here what it is telling me is, oh, okay, so here this step also you need to configure the credentials. Okay, that's fine, I'll do that. So now here, if you remember, so on the build of front end, whatever is happened, we add it as a source. So that means, so if I go to the pipelines, so you see this a front end in the last release, whatever we have, I added it. So that means I'm expecting this number to be coming up here. So what is the number I'm expecting it to come here? So if you just see this, so you prepare to push the front end. So the front end is 856 number. So somewhere you will find out the 856 number. Okay, you see this, you go to the output, deploy, 856, you see this. So there is 180 and 1856. You see this, release artifacts underscore build release underscore artifacts underscore app underscore build ID. Okay, so this is the variable I wanted to use. Okay, so just let me copy it somewhere. Okay, so that variable is the one which I want to use. Now let's fix this other part. Go to the task groups and go to the gets deploy, and you just go here environment variables. You just do this. Okay, so now which is fine. Now I'll just go to the releases quickly and I'll just create a release once again. Yeah, so now you see the deploy. So kubectl get pods, actually you're getting it. You're able to connect to the Kubernetes cluster and you will be start using that particular value. So now the additional thing, what you're actually going to do here is you go to the pipeline, go to the front end, go to the edit, and now you're going to add one more source, and that source is Azure repositories, which is in 53, and it is rs hyphen front end, because here is the place where you have the Kubernetes files. Okay, and that's the reason actually I'm doing it. Okay. And over here, this is fine. This is going to be let's store it under YAML or something like that. Okay, or let's store it under um, code. Okay, so add it. Okay. Okay, so now I added the code, right? So now I'll go here and I will say here into the task groups, just save this, and now go to the task groups and you will go for gets deploy. You go here. So what you're going to do is I'll just going to do like, so like ls of code slash k8. Okay, So I wanted to just do this much and see, so whether I'm getting that YAML file or not. Okay. So ls-l of this. So save. Go to the releases quickly. I'm just doing some trial and error method, going step by step to understand what can be done. Okay, so it's done. I go to the deploy ls-l, you're getting the file, right? So all you need to do is kubectl apply -f and that particular file. So here it is, and give kubectl apply -f and a slash app.yml. That's it. But before to that, so what you need to do is cd-i-e. Okay, so and cd-i-e and then search for dollar no search for version. Okay, and replace it with dollar. What is the variable name? Variable name is here somewhere. Yeah, so here is a variable name. So this variable name has the information about the data. So you do this, and then the file name is this one. Okay, so this is the thing I have to do. Now we are bringing the version from the CI and replacing and then applying. Okay, so now create a release. Cool. So that means it just applied. I come to the K9s. So you can see that front end is actually working, but actually it's saying it's image pull back off. Okay. So why it is telling, so I'm just pressing D for describe, D for describe. So I'm just pressing D. So you can just see what it is telling is, so D53 hyphen front end is actually is a private repository. Seriously, no. Let me see. So here it is a public one. It's a public view. Okay, D53 hyphen RS hyphen. Okay, that's a mistake. So D53 hyphen RS hyphen front end. Okay. So I push the change. I can just do a release is also fine now. Okay, so now let's go and try to look into this. Now front end is running, and also you would have got one service, and the service load balancer is this. Just go and put it on the browser, so you should see this. Okay, but everything might not be working. Why? Because yeah, so those components are not ready. So we'll talk about that. Okay, so now now let's go to the Docker file of the next component, which is catalog. Okay, so Docker file of catalog, it's telling Node.js 12 mkdir app, go into the this directory, and server.js, and all this is fine. Okay, all this is fine. So all you need to do is you just need to have the kh file like this. Take this, put it here. Okay, and let's change the things. So like, let's say you got as here as catalog. Here you are going to call it as a catalog. Here also you're going to call it as a catalog. Here also you're going to call it as a catalog. Here also you're going to call it as catalog. Here also you call it as catalog. But the port, actually this one opens is 8080, I think, right? So that's a one. And also the ports I'll give it as 80808080. And here also it is catalog. Okay, that's it. And here also I'll say catalog, but this doesn't really need to be a load balancer. It can be an internal one. Okay, cluster IP, this much. But catalog requires what all certain environment variables. Okay, so mongo underscore URL. So I need to pass those information. How do you pass the information? We already discussed this. So now I can just go and give env. Okay, so or else you can just go with one config map, and you keep everything under one config map is also fine. Okay, so but whatever it is, env and hyphen name, you do this. And like, let's say value is basically what is the value you're expecting. This is the value, right? And mongo underscore dns name is I think so mongodb name is mongodb only. Okay, that's it. You push the code to this, and the next one is the front end. Also I am going to so copy, so which is local host.conf file slash etc slash nginx slash default.d slash roboshop.conf file in the local host file. So now here you can give it as catalog, this much. Catalog is going on. Catalog again, I would better cancel this. Why? Because catalog is actually Azure pipeline is not updated. Catalog Azure pipelines.yml file. So here it is still latest. So but here I'm giving is a build.build ID. Otherwise it is of no use. Pipelines. So front end, let it run in the meantime. I'll go to the releases. So set up the clone. The clone you call it as catalog. And to change anything here, app, I need to remove it here, delete it, and delete it. Okay, so add. So this one is rs hyphen catalog, and it's actually app. Add it. So add. So the next one is Azure repos. You said it was 53. rs hyphen catalog, right? Yeah. So the branch is master branch, and it's actually under code. So pipelines, catalog. Now let's see what it is pushing. Yeah, it's pushing 860. All right. So now create releases, and so front end also you can do it one more time because configuration file has been modified. Let's see that is working, and let's go to catalog. Pipeline is completed, then we can go for catalog. Yeah, done. Releases, catalog, get a release, create. Okay, so now it is fine. Let's go here, and you can see the catalog also came in, and go to pods. So see the healthy status of the pod. So pod is also fine. Okay, so all right, it's all good. If it is all good, so what should be happening? If I go to the RoboShop and try to refresh, you should be getting the content, and you are not getting the content. So that means the things are not good. Okay, so then go to the SVC. So catalog is actually on 8080 code. Pods, it's actually 8080 only or something else. It's 8080 only. I'm hitting catalog with the 8080. So now if I go to the logs of the front end, what it is telling, 404, you're getting the 404. So that means the configuration which you are actually applying is not getting impacted. Okay, that means go to the shell. So cd/etc nginx and then default.d RoboShop file is not getting any impact. Okay, so cat/etc nginx.conf file. So is it really loading something? No, it's actually loading something which is under conf.d, but not anything under default.d. Okay, so let me go to the conf.d directory. Cd this one ls cat default.conf file. So this guy is actually really not loading anything. Okay, so here is the problem. So what I need to do is I just need to update the configuration here, and I will say okay, localhost.conf file, and I will say 9, here it is server.conf file, something like that. So like this, just remove everything, just remove everything here, just remove everything here. And so what you need to generally do here is then go to the localhost conf file. So what all you have other locations here, you just add them. The server.conf file, you just add them. And error page, you already have something, you can ignore them. Okay, so only this much is fine. Okay, so now your Docker file, so you know to do this server.conf file, so it's actually conf.d and then default.conf file, you replace it. Okay, so here it is, push it. Okay, so the image has been built. Now you go to the releases. And I go to front end. Okay, so that went fine, and that means the new pod came in picture. Yes, the new pod came in. And now if I go to do this, try to refresh, now you're getting the list of categories. Okay, so this is what you have it here. All right, so just artificial intelligence. Okay, so this is what. Okay, this is what we have. All right, and the next thing is our next service basically. So which we are going to do, go with the user service. So the user service, first let me go and update my Azure pipelines. There has to be this. Go to the Azure pipelines. There has to be this. Second thing, go to the Docker file. I think everything is fine here. Okay, which is okay. And now I'm going to take this, keep it over here, and just replace this. So Control R, search for a catalog and replace it with the user. Okay, it's all got replaced. Now in the system.d.service file, so it is require a Redis endpoint. Okay, so and this one. All right, so two variables, like which is Redis underscore host is another one. So which it is going to be is hyphen name Redis, and then value is. So what is the Redis one? SVC. Redis is actually going to be Redis hyphen master. Or Redis hyphen headless also works, I think. Okay, so Redis hyphen headless should be fine. So MongoDB, here it is, here it is. This is okay. The user. Okay, let me push this and let the cart CI happen. Sorry, user CI happen. In the meantime, we'll set up the pipeline. Let it happen. Let's go to the this one, go to here, and I will say this, just clone, and you delete this, you delete this. Just go for add, and so it's actually going to be user. called as. It also require a source code coming from Azure DevOps, Azure repos, and rs-user. You require master branch. I'm going to say that as a code. User. Sorry. Yeah. The next thing. Okay. So over here it's done. Now CA part is done. I'll go to the releases. I'm already here. I think I can create a release. Let's do this. And since you make these particular changes, so you need to make the changes accordingly in front end as well in server.conf file. So I will say this also is ready, so which you are going to call it as user. Okay, let's complete cart also, and then we'll push. Okay, so this one, so print and let it run, and the next one is cart also. So you'll go to cart, copy this and paste it here. And so Azure pipelines also need some change, the build ID. This is fine. And in the kh.yml file, so you're going to find for catalog and replace it with cart. Okay, so replace all. And so here this doesn't really require to go to MongoDB, so it actually looks for Redis underscore host and catalog underscore host. So Redis underscore host saying it is Redis hyphen headless, and whereas name, which is catalog underscore host, which value is just the catalog. The catalog service is just the catalog. Okay, so this much is fine, and just do this. So pipelines. This is not needed. The old one is fine. Okay, done. And so the next thing is, so go to the releases and go to the user. It's already enough, right? So let's set up the cart as well. Okay, so just click on save, save. Okay. Okay, so this is also done. So now I would like to go and take a look here, pods, if everything is good. Okay, now front end also I want to release because yeah, there is a new change which came to front end. So front end also I would like to trigger, otherwise those will not work. So let's wait for the front end deployment. So currently the deployment happened almost 11 minutes back. So now we will okay, so the new front end came in. Now let's take this and go to here and I just try to log in for product. So go for login. Let's try to register Raghu at the rate local.com Raghu. So the user service is working fine, and go here and try to add to cart. So add to cart is somehow not working. Okay, so now why it is not working, let's take a look in multiple places. First, so why my front end is not able to send the cart request. So while it is having or why it is calling cart, actually its ratings is okay, products not actually coming anything. Go to the shell of this one. I want to take a look on the configuration etc nginx conf.d and default.conf file. So cart is already there for any cart request. It is okay. So now I'll say logs. Now I will just go and click on add to cart for a couple of times, but no requests are coming really here. So that is due to might be cart is not responding yet. Yeah. So add to cart is actually giving 499 response. Okay, that means it is hitting the cart, but that guy is actually giving 499. Let's go to the cart logs and what cart is telling. So actually it is telling Redis error. Okay, code no auth. I don't know. So this Redis might not be working. Redis for cart might not be working, so probably we don't want to use the Helm chart of, or I think the option whatever I might have used also might be some problem. Helm ls Helm space delete Redis. So now we are getting full error. Okay, so Helm install Redis bitnami/Redis. Or let's took like so tables. So if we use this now here, authentication, so our password, use password is true. Okay, and okay, so I better use something called as Helm install table/Redis, and I will give -- set is equal to false. And now I will go and say pods, are we getting headless, something like that. As we see, if it comes headless, no issues. Headless is coming. Okay, cool. So let the pods come to running. Redis pods come to running. Master came in, so that means in the logs of cart again. So I'm killing the cart pod. So let it create once again. So now Redis is undefined. So now I'll go back and I will say add to cart. It's something. Is it really working? It's still not working. Okay, so we need to see so what is the problem which is having it. So probably in tomorrow's session, so we'll just take a look onto this. Okay, so we'll try to solve this problem, why it is actually really not happening. Okay, all right, so that's all from my side for today. Any questions? Okay, all right, questions will meet in tomorrow's session and we'll complete the remaining effort. Okay, thank you, see you tomorrow, bye, good day.